Welcome to Horror Movies and Beyond. I'm your host, Ivotres Littles, and this is Shudderary, where we go behind the screens of Shudder original and exclusive movies. Today, I have a really awesome special guest. He has a podcast at Bloody Disgusting called Night Light. Let's welcome Prince Jackson. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey. Yo, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited too.
This is a movie.
yeah, man. We gonna talk. Okay, so okay. This is gonna be a fun episode.
It could do that to you.
Yeah. So today we're gonna talk about Shudder original movie, Christmas, Bloody Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And okay, so before we get into that, because there will be, we're gonna spoil it.
Yes, there will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers. Prince, please tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I have a podcast, Nightlight, horror movie podcast for Bloody Disgusting. I've been with Bloody Disgusting for 2 years now with the podcast, but I've been doing the podcast for over 3. I've been in the horror industry for a little over 3 years as well. Learning everything new still. I feel like I'm still pretty fresh to it and still learning new things and things like that. But I got a lot of things in the book. I'm looking super forward to it, actually. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming up for me and for everyone else, because it's technically going to be to the public. I'm just the one doing it. But I got a lot of fun stuff in the works. Some I can't talk about just yet.
Well, that's okay, as long as it's coming. We just have to be patient.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It is coming. And I'm gonna tell everyone right now, it is going to be insanely exciting.
Okay, cool. Yay. So today we're going to talk about Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Yeah, it's a Christmas story. Okay. So, 2 people want to get drunk and party, but a robotic, crazy Santa Claus just go haywire and just kill everybody, do some terrible things. Yeah.
It's like, imagine Child's Play meets the Terminator. That's this movie. It's like an animatronic toy thing that's supposed to be this irreplaceable Santa Claus, and it has a virus or something, or it gets hacked, and then it's just trying to kill people. It makes zero sense.
It made no sense at all. This is the first movie where I actually have a lot of negatives, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Yeah.
No, don't be.
Because usually I'm very like, oh, if it's not for me, it's for you type vibe. And I feel that way about this because I've met people who've seen this film and said, oh, they had a blast. And I'm like, okay, horror is subjective, but this one was just, the first 30 minutes. Okay, first of all, when we first see it, it's the weird Christmas commercials.
Yes.
That was I was like, wait a minute.
It throws you off.
Yeah. What's going on? And then you get to someone is like in the shadows and it's like a conspiracy and all this weird stuff going on. And basically this mechanical Santa is known to have mechanical failure because it goes into like war mode.
Yeah, it was made to be a bulletproof type of Santa Claus thing. I don't know why. It never explains that. It was supposed to replace all these other Santas, which I think is like a play on people fearing that their job is going to be replaced by robots. Like we hear that all the time. Like we're starting to have like robotic baristas now. And you live in LA, right? And I live in San Francisco. So like for us, we see it even faster because we're just like we're in the mecca of everything. So like for that, you know, we see even like at like Amazon warehouses and stuff like that. So that's how I pictured it, where it's just like, okay, like that's understandable. Like I could see that being a fear tactic as like, oh, my job's going to be replaced by this robot. But this one obviously is very silly.
It's very silly. So when I said I have a lot of negatives, that does not mean a bad thing. Like it's not, I'm not saying that I hate the film or anything. I had to clear that up.
Yeah.
It's just,
it's a fun movie.
Once you get past 30 minutes, it was too much dialogue.
It's a lot of dialogue
going on for 30 minutes.
No build up.
Because there wasn't even a build up.
No, it just turns on. No, it was no build up. It just turns on and starts.
At the bar, and he, you know, she wants to go hang out. Her name is Tori, and she wants to go hang out. And this guy, I think it was Robbie.
I think it was Robbie. It was her employee.
Yeah,
it was very weird.
Which they had a weird relationship, boss and employee, and he was like trying to convince her to go with him. Yeah. Like, and she just like, nah, man.
I'm good.
But he was like pushing her, but she ended up hanging out with him anyway. They go to a friend house. She really doesn't like him, but
yeah, it's not a good look.
It was very contradicting.
Yeah.
And then we see them at this store, and you get a glimpse of this Santa.
Yeah, their friend Jay's toy shop.
Yeah, it was like weird, and then all of a sudden, you know, they put this snow stuff, and and he was like a recovering addict, but then he goes over there and
he just
snorts up coke. I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I was like, pause the brakes, and then, but by the time you get there, it's still like 15 minutes went by. Yeah. And nothing is happening.
No.
And they decide to leave, and he's still pushing to have relations, and she's like, no, and they're arguing about that and going back and forth, and they go to another bar drinking, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's the bar down the street. It's supposed to be the small town, but it's supposed to be, I think, California. Like, it's snowing in California, and I'm just like, this is interesting. I mean, it snows in California, obviously, but like, it's just not in LA. Like,
not where they were.
Not where they were. They're supposed to be like in a Pasadena type of town. Like,
well, we don't know what year this actually takes place, I guess. So,
technically,
but yeah, because
we could assume it's modern time, I guess.
I'm going to say it was like
maybe 2000.
John Connor type thing going on. Because when you see that Santa, okay, so the Santa kind of turns its head once they leave, and he, you know, saying ho ho ho, whatever, and just kind of, and then all of a sudden step down, and then those two end up having relations on whatever, and those two, it was
like a throne or something. It was very weird.
Very weird. It was very weird when he got on his knees and started eating. I was like, wait a minute. And she was like,
she was digging it. Yeah, that was Jay and Lana.
I did not.
I wanted to mention, but like Jay, played by Jonah Ray. Jonah Ray is the host for Mystery Theater 3000. And he also was on 101 Scariest Moments of Horror, and which was on Shudder as well. But like it was just funny to see him, where I'm just like, is that Jonah? Like that was so weird for me, because I don't really see him in like horror films, so it's like I thought that was funny. But you're right, like the buildup is nothing. There is no build up to this. It just kind of turns on and then it starts and it's a completely different movie. But I do have to say though, I am a fan of how Joe Bagos had Tori and Robbie. I don't know their real names. I should do that. Riley Dandy and Sam Dillage. I really liked how he had both of them acting because it felt very, I wouldn't say natural because I wouldn't talk that way, but like there are people who do talk that way. And like it felt natural enough to where I didn't feel like they were coming off as like, oh, I'm trying to act and be someone. Like they just felt like this is how they are. And I thought that was clever. I thought that was really clever to have it be kind of like this Judd Apatow type of acting situation that he put them in, where it is a very fluid conversation. Like because the vibes that I got from it was super bad, 40-year-old virgin, things like that, things that didn't necessarily feel like acting.
I completely understand that. I understand that, but there's a time and place. I think the roles, like the scenes, should have been flipped. And I'll get to that.
Like it starts with the attacks, you mean?
Yes, like it starts with it there, and you see the two people coming in, and they're making out. It was what were their names again? I forgot.
Jay and Lana.
Yeah. And then it gets up, do something terrible, and then you see Tori and Robbie coming there.
Yep. Yeah.
Then they're trying to get in, and then they find a back door, or they whatever, and they get in there. Yeah, and they get in there and they're looking for everybody, and then they see the blood, and then the Santa go crazy.
I agree.
I would have loved
that would have been more believable.
Yeah, because then as she's fighting it, or people come through, because maybe more people are supposed to come, like the other friends, instead of being at someone's house. Then it just like it's crazy and they can't get out or whatever, and then maybe they do get out and then go to the house and it finds them there, and then it's just like it's already beaten up. And then we see it look like the Terminator, because the laser eyes, when it got up from the ground, I could just hear
yes 100%.
I couldn't get it out of my head. I was
the whole time this movie plays like a avant-garde music video. Like it feels like it is supposed to be a rock music video that just kind of has a very odd, strange pace. This Santa is a pretty ruthless Santa, obviously, but like I agree that if this movie had a more constructive story, like if we had a why, or a better why than just like, oh, they're malfunctioning, it just felt a little lazy. So like I could agree with that for sure. But do I like this movie? I do. I enjoy this movie. I think this movie's a blast, but I do agree with every critique that I've heard about this movie, every critique and criticism. I was like, yeah, no, they're 100% right. Yeah, that needed to be changed 100%. I definitely agree with that. But it is something that I feel like for this movie to have been a bit better is I wish it would have leaned more into the fact that it was filmed on 16 millimeter or 25 millimeter. I know it was one of the two. Because the whole aspect of it being in the neon lights and the snowy weather and things like that, like it was beautiful, but I wish it would have leaned in more into that to maybe be something closer along the lines of it feeling like a forbidden movie if we were going to go that route, because it felt like this was trying to be just random acts of events that happen with the Santa Claus. But yet the Santa chose her, which was weird.
It was just very relentless, but it was a very strong mechanical
yes
Santa. It was so much neon.
It was so much neon.
so much
It was
neon.
quite distracting. It was so much.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got to the point where I was thinking, it just like popped in my head because there are quite a few Shudder films that follow the same color palette. And I even mentioned that on another platform, like, is this required? Like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I mean, if you've seen, you know, Mandy and there's another one, I can't
Color
think
Out
of
of
them
Space.
all. There we go. And then there's Revealer, and then there's Vicious Fun. They all
Random Acts of Violence as well.
You know, Glorious. They all have that same peakish, yellowish, bluish, you know, neon.
Right. It almost feels like it is a requirement.
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. No, Shudder. But it's just, I mean, how many do they have, like a list? Okay, we can only choose these colors, because it was so annoying that it almost made it a timepiece. Like you wanted to, it was like 80s.
And
like
that's why I said they should have leaned more into how it was filmed.
Yeah, in early 90s. And I was like, okay, is it taking place? Because if it's 2022, 21 or whatever, it's like
it didn't feel like that.
Colors ain't around though. Like,
but people ain't using that much neon anymore.
Yeah, because in Revealer Revealer was in the 80s. So yeah, and there was another one I was about to say. Oh, Vicious Fun was in the 80s, and it had that same. Yeah. So that right
Color
there,
Out of Space, I guess, made sense because it was supposed to be a color out of space, but like,
well, yeah, match the title.
Exactly, right. Just to go with the flow.
Yeah, but you know, as I was watching this, and that Santa was coming, and it was nonstop. I was like, okay, I get the whole Terminator type vibe,
right?
But after like the last 30 minutes, it was like, okay, this is entertaining.
Exactly.
It was worth watching, but there was a point. Okay,
the repetitiveness of them dying and coming back.
I know, right? No, before that. So when, you know, what was really interesting about the whole conversation between Tori and Robbie is that he finally got what he wanted, but it took forever for them to get there, especially when they started from the steps. Now, when it started,
oh my gosh, yeah,
it was just like knocking things over. I was like, really? Who does that? I mean, just get to the point. But even though she was not interested, he really pushed her, which gave a bad vibe.
Yeah, right that definitely sticky.
Yeah, but the whole time that he was, I want to say, performing a lower French kiss, her friends was dying.
Yeah. Was it her friends or was it her neighbors? That was hard to establish because it made it seem like it was in the house, but she saw it across the street.
I thought it was in the house.
Right.
Until after she smoked a cigarette and was like, oh, that was great. And then they looked over and it was
and she saw him kill the kid.
Yeah, I thought it was her friend.
No, I think it was her neighbor.
Because it was that was just so random.
It was weird how it was supposed to be pieced together. Or maybe he was just like, this will be a cool edit. Like, let's have this go back and forth. Let's have a Santa Claus killing someone while someone is being pleasured. So maybe that's it, the pain and pleasure aspect. But like, it was a lot. But I think it was her neighbor because this was my second time watching this.
Okay.
But I think it was her neighbor.
You know what? When they were doing whatever, I fast forwarded because I was like, okay, I'm not finna sit here because it kept going on and on.
Yeah, it takes a minute for them to do that.
So I actually fast forwarded and watched like really fast.
You're like, okay, that happened, and then
it stopped, and then I continued watching.
I mean that kill was gnarly. Like, I don't know if you
caught the kills were good,
but yeah, the kills were really good.
Well, the first kill wasn't the first one with
the toy shop.
Yeah, when he
them in half. It's perfect.
I was like,
that was great.
I was like, okay, and then you really see the girl too much.
Not really. Yeah, no.
No, when he kind of slammed her, like she running around, he slammed her head.
It was the POV. I've never been a fan of POV shots in horror, but like it was that POV shot, which is very Child's Play, right? I mean, that was mainly how most of the kills happened in Child's Play. But that POV shot of him slamming her head repeatedly, I was like, damn, okay, like she's still screaming. Like, let's get to the, like, you know, like I get it. Like, this is the 5th slam. Like, dang, the glass didn't break yet. So like that, there were some kills where I felt were just like not as clever as the others. Like the split in half was great. Obviously budget is totally a thing, but the head cave in on the stairs was really good as well. Like I thought that was fantastic. But
the axe to, I didn't think Robbie was going to get.
Oh my God.
I didn't think he was going to get messed up. But when he was like in front of the car and she was like, get up. And then like, all of a sudden it was like, wow. And I was like, well, he should have got up.
Should have got faster than that. Yeah.
And then you get the cop.
It was
okay,
it was
but I did like the cop did shoot him though. He did get him pretty good.
He did shoot him. He shot. He shot him a couple times.
It wasn't like down. freeze until, and then he walks up and grab it and snatch it from him and then use it as a weapon. I mean, I've seen that in hundreds of films, but this one he actually blasted, but he didn't blast him long enough. No. I mean, he double tapped, but you're supposed to get to the head.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because it was mechanical.
Exactly.
It
was making me think, because like, you know, when I think about when anytime someone uses robotics in horror or in movies in general, my first thing is just like, damn, what kind of batteries they using? Like, like, you know, so like, because this thing was just going and going. I was like, this thing's the Energizer Bunny. But it's interesting because she even hit it in the head a few times, and this thing just kept getting up. She blew it up, she burnt it, she electrocuted it, she even used water. Like it was just, and it just kept going and going and going, and I was like, this thing is determined. So like, I wish if this would have had a larger budget, I feel like we could have really gotten a really fleshed out story from this. That could have been a really cool story, because like the way we even find out about the malfunction, very generic, right? We find out on the news, we find out from a report, and Tori's like, turn this off, it's bumming me out. So it's just like we see all this stuff, and it's very generic. And I wish people would use the method, if you're ever going to use like TV to showcase what's happening in the world, I wish more folks would learn from like Edgar Wright and how Edgar Wright would do it for like Shaun of the Dead, for example. When we find out that there's a zombie apocalypse going on in Shaun of the Dead, I mean, it's flicking through channels, and it's such a genius way to establish, hey, this is what's happening here. And I found Christmas Bloody Christmas could have utilized this with those stupid commercials in the beginning of the movie. They could have 100% utilized this way better, to where it could have been multiple reports of Santa's going rogue and killing people. But I'm sure that was like a budget restriction thing, but still, like, I feel like this could have been way more fleshed out.
That goes back to the beginning. Not the commercials, but to that dialogue.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I have to give them kudos. That was a lot of pages they had to remember. I give them that.
Which is why I feel like a little bit was definitely improv. Like, I feel like it has to be.
But that time, that 30 minutes.
Yes.
It's 28 to be almost exact.
Yeah, 28
That could have been the time used to utilize what's going on with the Santas. At
least establish the world, right? You know, start building the world at this point, because we didn't have any really world building techniques here. It was mainly focused on trying to make these characters likable. And like,
I didn't like them at all.
That's the thing, right? Like, you know, like, I wasn't the biggest fan of them. It wasn't like the fact that I didn't like them. Like would I talk to these people? Probably, but like it just didn't make me feel connected, right?
No, I was not connected.
Yeah,
I was like,
the
ooh.
connection.
The first thing I thought when they were in the car, I was thinking when she was driving to her sister's house, I believe.
Yeah, she lives with her sister.
Yeah.
And her
when
sister,
she was climbing, when they were, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, I wouldn't care if they died.
Yeah.
Like that was the first thought. I was like, whatever. Maybe the sister's better. Like if we meet the sister or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't care. But I think that on time trying to establish that we liked them, I felt like the guy, Robbie, was like nasty because he kept pushing her.
Way aggressive.
Yeah, too aggressive. And I just like, ugh, that's cringy. But her, it was kind of like, okay, she's tough. I'm this tough, manager at a bar, but at the same time, she was like, I'm tough, but okay, I'll give you a chance, but don't touch me. I don't want to give you a chance, but maybe you're cool. No. Yeah. It was like that kind of attitude. I was like,
yeah, it's interesting too, because like, Joe Bagos was really good at establishing the story in Bliss and in VFW. I'm not too sure if you've seen VFW as well, but VFW, it was weird that this didn't have that much of an establishment because Bliss and VFW did. It very much built up, and Bliss is a very slow movie. Like it really takes Bliss like a long time to get started, but you're in it. Like you and it's played by Dora Madison, who plays Lorna in this, or Laura in this one. What's her name? No, that's not it. Lana. But it's played by Dora Madison, and she's the main character in Bliss. But Bliss is a vampire story, and Bliss is technically the name of the drug in the movie, and she's a drug addict who is also an artist as well. But you are with her and only her. Like there's no other like true main characters for her to necessarily be around to, I guess, distract you from being with just pure character development. And that's why I thought this was interesting. And when this started, I was like, okay, no, this could work, because he did it again in VFW, and VFW was with 4 veterans. And when he did it in VFW, like, you were once again in it, and you definitely you cared about these people. I mean, Dora Madison's character in Bliss was a little hard to care for because she was a drug addict, and it was a little hard to show empathy for her. In this movie, you didn't really have that. Like you were with her, but it just didn't. I just didn't care. I just didn't care. Like if she would have died at the end, I would have been like, all right, there you go. Santa's still going on.
You know what? I would have rooted for Santa. Like if Santa
I think that should have
her,
been,
and if he would have walked away with, the mechanical skeleton hanging out, I would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That should have been the ending.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. That would have been great.
Been cool. But I mean, you could have still had all the dialogue establishing who they were. I mean, you could even 100%. Have them likable, but he was ill.
Robbie.
She was wishy-washy. Then you have a Santa that's crazy, and we don't know why. Even in the movie, I don't know if you ever seen Small Soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that it was the same thing. It was warfare, toys gone crazy, but we understood how that happened. A microchip. But I mean, even in Child's Play, the remake, it established the guy was upset because he was getting fired, and there was a reason. There was nothing here, so the entire time I was trying to figure it out. Like, how did this happen?
Sure.
And then it just went very over and over the same thing. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And it just kept getting up. It was like with the laser, the laser eyes. I started laughing. I was like, "What is going on?" I mean, those were not just like
they were like going all over the place.
that were glowing. No, they
Right.
were
lasers. They were like
lasers.
legit laser pointers in their in the eyes, and I thought that was hilarious. It would have been cool if that would have done something, like if you would have had like actual like laser vision and like could use that as well, but it's fine.
That or it kills. Like,
Yeah,
you know, he's trying to get somebody and then he just
and he
uses
like lasers
lasers.
their eye. Like that would be great. Like that would be awesome. That would have been such a cool kill. But instead, we went the route of like Silent Night, Deadly Night with the axe. Right, that was our main weapon of choice, was the axe. Which that's fine. I personally always have found the axe to be a decent weapon of choice for villains in horror. But we went that route, and it was fun. It was fun to see him go on a little rampage with that. But I would have loved for him to utilize more mechanics of just being bulletproof, right? Like this war grade Santa Claus, like that was ridiculous. Like you know what you're gonna get from that.
It would have been cool if it was multiple Santas.
That's what
like
I'm saying.
Three, like
that's what I'm saying. That's why. And then I said, you gotta like, if had a
kill
bigger
one,
budget.
and she's like, then she sees another one. It's like, oh fuck, you know. And then it's like another one. This one got laser eyes, and she got to figure it out. Oh fuck, because it was just, I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know, but overall, this film was different.
Definitely.
The beginning it's not slow. You just gotta get through the talk. If you can get through some people might dig it. Yeah, because it's trying to establish who they are in 30 minutes. I mean that's
right. That's hard.
I think, like I said, if they would have reversed it, and then had them talking as they're walking and go to the bar and go there, we would have established who they are along the way. And then we got the murderous Santa. That's just my opinion on that. But if you're looking for
Anna
fun,
and the apocalypse approach. Yeah.
If you like fun, Christmas, gory, just crazy. I mean, this is it. I mean, this is it. There's nothing else.
But no, Ivotres, you're 100% right, because like if you even skip 30 minutes of this movie, you won't miss anything. Like it's just like if you just want to get to the Santa Claus killing people, go ahead and skip that 28 minutes. And there you go. Like you're not gonna miss anything. Yeah.
The moment he turns his head in the store, that's when things. And it took him forever to find them. I'm like, so he walked through the whole store to get the axe, and then he walked all the way back, and they're still in the same spot after he then went downtown.
They don't hear this big ass thing and then, clocking around.
Yeah, and then they were too busy.
They were busy. They were busy. She was very loud. She was very, very loud.
Way too loud. So, but thank you so much, Prince. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much for having
that
me.
movie was wild. Thank you for joining me. So where can people, I mean, obviously they could find you Bloody Disgusting. Is there, and you already said you got a film project coming.
Actually, my producer just texted me. That's why I looked back like down for a little bit. But yes, you can find me over on Twitter at The Head Knight. That's Knight with a K. You can also find me on TikTok with the same name as well. It's not like a huge following or anything over there, but I do talk more about movies. Like I'm prepping up to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. So a lot of fun stuff coming in the works.
Thank you for watching Shudderary, and make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. More videos will be coming.
Happy Shudderary.
Thank you. Until next time, everyone. Bye.
Later.